Welcome to the second episode of the Sunset Talk. Today, only now started to be cloudy, and I don't think the sunset's gonna be very beautiful. But the conversation's gonna be great, and we're gonna talk about toilet. Where do I go and how I do it to dump it? We're gonna talk about mail, how do I do to receive it? We're gonna talk about living in a van when it's raining. We're going to talk about parking in big cities, not just for sightseeing, but also for the night. And we're going to talk about compression and uploading videos to YouTube, talking about monthly budget when living in a van, about long traveling, everything we need to think about, especially in Europe, and about anxiety and depression. So, once again, welcome to the Sunset Conversation. Alright, the toilet. For the ones who don't know what I'm talking about, my toilet has two tanks, 13 liters clean water and 15 liters grey waters. And then as a green and red stick. When it's red means that it's full, so I need to empty. And to empty that, it depends a lot in the countries and the places where I am. Some countries I can just go to any sewer and turn it there. Countries like Switzerland, you cannot do that. But countries like Switzerland, especially Northern European countries, you have everywhere a place to do that. In Switzerland, even in a gas station, in a highway or the biggest gas stations everywhere, they have a place for camping cars to get water, to dump all the toilets and cleaning and everything, and even electricity. In the southern countries, you can go to any sewer in a gas station or a public toilet. You can go to a restaurant or some place. It's just it's not a big deal. You take it and you put it down, or you can pay for it. If you go to a camping, most of them, even if you're not in the camping, you can go there and do it there, and you'll pay. It depends how much. Can go around €5. Will be pretty much the same in dollars. When traveling in some parts, most of the places I go, there are places kind of in the middle of nowhere. The best thing to do is not actually use the tank, and you go to the woods. And after a while, there was something very interesting. It is something very interesting. After a while, in the beginning was weird. After a while, you get used to it, and it's good for the earth to grow stronger and feels well. Of course, be careful, don't leave the paper there, but there are always a solution. And about everything, living in a van and being a full-time travel, there are things, it's a lot about adaptation, and even that you adapt. And when you're traveling, you're always thinking about your needs, and you're always looking around, searching for a place where to get water, where to dump the toilet. So when I stop, most of the time I know already where can I go, if I'm far for a place for that or not. And there are also apps for the smartphones that you can find all the information about places to do that kind of stuff. So let's go to the second subject, that is mail. How do I do to receive it? Mail, there are companies, we can pay and they receive the mail for us, and then when we want, and there's a lot of it, we tell them where to send, and they can send to everywhere, or to a post office anywhere, and we just go there. But me, what I do most of the time, is because I don't have many mail to receive, almost nothing. And the things I have to receive, I know when I need them. For example, my car insurance. A couple weeks ago I needed a new one, so I arranged to be close to a Greek friend, and I sent, of course I talked with my friend before, and I sent the address to them and said that to send the insurance to this address, and I do that almost all the time with everything. It's just when there's something that I'm needing, I try to arrange the place where I am with some address, with some friend. In Europe it's kind of easy for me because I have friends in lots of countries. If not, things can be sent to a post office and you can go there and take them there. So the next question, I talked about this in other videos about being in a van when it's raining. It's very interesting because it's some kind, and recently I talked about it as well. So I'm not going to talk much now. I'll put the link below with that video. But when it's raining, when it's 2 days, 3 days, it's very cool because I sleep very, very well and some kind of higher level of meditation. So it's very good for the body and for the mind and soul. And so I get very, very relaxed, and it's very good. And usually there's always a little bit of wind when it's raining, so the van moves and it's very cool. Here now in the summer doesn't rain much, and in Southern Europe what we call winter is actually rain, because it rains a lot. In the summer it doesn't rain much, and can be annoying after several days because my van is built to do almost all my life outside, and if it's raining I can't cook outside, and that's why I also want to make some changements in my van so I can do that later. But it's very difficult in Europe, in the south, in the north, yes, in countries like Switzerland or Germany and all the northern countries rains a lot, even in the summer. But that in the south, no, not many days in a row of rain, so it's not a big problem. So now this is a little bit more technical subject. I'm not a big professional in this kind of stuff, but I use compressor from Apple to compress all my videos. Otherwise it would be very, very big and impossible to me to upload them, especially because my internet is expensive. I need to pay internet where I go and buy a SIM card, and I use that internet, so it's very expensive. And the video, for me, the ideal is around 300 megabytes. More than that will be very, very expensive. And my videos, some of them, they can have around 2 gigas, so I need to compress them a lot. It was very difficult in the beginning to find all the formula to compress videos because I don't know much about it. So the way I found it was trying different ways. I tried like 50 different ways until I found one where I had good quality and 3 or 4 or 5 times smaller size file, and then takes around 1 hour. Sometimes can go to almost 2 hours, but almost all the time is around 1 hour. And then upload, it depends how my internet is because it's mobile. I upload the video today, took me 12 minutes, sometimes can take an hour. But then it's not just the uploading, it's the thumbnail, the picture for the video, and the tags, and there's a lots of work behind. So only the uploading after finishing the video, that can take several hours, it depends. Always count around 3 hours for compressing and uploading and do everything I need to do. This is a very, very interesting subject about full-time living in a van, and I think between 600 and 800 euros is very realistic. and would be the same for dollars. 800 euros would be $900. So it's when I talk about euros, you can think the same about dollars. But you need to remember that I talk most of it about doing it in Europe. And the money I spend is very different, can be very different from one month to the other, depending if I move or not. Because I can spend 30-40 euros in a week if I stay always in the same place. Because it's only food. I don't have to spend money with something else, so it's only for food, and that becomes very, very cheap. And if I stay a month, which I never do, but if I stay a month in the same place, I will spend around 300 euros, maybe even a little bit less. But if I move, will increase a lot. And then in Europe, gas is expensive. I remember the month of January that I went from Zagreb in Croatia to Malta. In the last day of the month I arrived to Malta. So I did much more than 1,000 kilometers, and I took ferry boat to Sicily and ferry boat to Malta. Only those two ferry boats, only one way, 200 euros. So I spent more than 1,000 euros in that month. So everything is about your way of traveling and about the kind of person you are when you talk about spending money. Then small things start to be important because everything counts. And you need to remember that when you travel for a long time, everything you spend in your van is part of your budget. Not just gas and oil. I need to put a little bit of oil every 2 months, and I changed my brakes recently. I had to fix the exhaust. Then everything that comes with a car needs to be part of the budget, that when we go in holidays we don't count it. And here, full-time living, yes, everything is part of the budget. So the budget is not only gas and food. It's everything. But I think between 600 and 800 is realistic if you don't move much sometimes. So some months you'll spend 300, 400, and other months you'll spend 1,000. So you're gonna be okay. Traveling around Europe is very, very easy. It's almost like I'm talking about laws, about insurance, about crossing borders from one place to the other. Is being European Union citizen. That is one of the most powerful passports in the world, and here in Europe is the almighty passport, because you don't need visa to go anywhere. You only need visa to go to Russia, Belarus, and that's it. Everything else you don't need visa. You need to go to Turkey, but in Turkey you buy it in the border. When I went there it was 25 euros, and you buy it there. Takes like 20 minutes. They put it on the passport, the stamp, and you're ready to go. So in Europe, regarding laws and visas, and it's almost like traveling in your own country. Then about laws, there are things that can change from one country to the other. Some countries, like having the bicycle like I do here in the rear of the van. Some countries, police can be a little bit annoying. You need to have a big sign. I don't have it, and I've been in lots of countries where I need to have it. No one ever told me anything. Most of the time, police, when they see that I'm not from that country, they don't even stop me. And it happened to me before. They saw me and then they let me go, or they just see if the car is mine, it's not a robbed car, and they let me go, because they don't want to try to speak another language and stuff like that. And police in Europe, they are, most of them, very cool. And Europe is very safe. There are not big problems, even if we see on the news lots of crazy stuff. There's nothing to do with reality. Reality is very, very safe. And in the 70s and 80s, Europe was much more dangerous, much more. Now is much safer. And even if officials sometimes talk about certain things, they know it. And there's only one country where, and there's nothing to do with terrorists, because always been like that. I go there driving since I was a kid with my father from Portugal, is France. In France they are always very annoying for foreign cars, always. But even France has borders where there's no one, and most of the borders in European Union there's no border, just a sign saying the name of the country and welcome to this country. So it's very easy, very safe, and very interesting. South and north, different reasons, but both very, very interesting. And then about insurance. I remember when I was traveling with a Portuguese car, my insurance didn't have all the countries. Countries like Bosnia, Kosovo, some of the Balkan countries, and then Russia. And I had to do another insurance for those countries that was very cheap. Now with the Bulgarian car I have insurance everywhere. So it's something, if you go travel, you need to check. And my advice to you is, if you come to Greece, for example, make an insurance for all the countries around, because you never know what you're gonna feel like later. So, and I remember I paid for 3 or 4 months or 6 months maybe, but something like 30 or 40 euros only to put those countries on my main insurance. So it was very cheap. So I think it's all about traveling in Europe. It's very easy, very simple there. And nowadays, when I start traveling, I remember I went to some countries, I was the only one going there. It was the guards in the border, they will call the friends to say, hey look, this guy comes from Portugal. And would be a big deal in some places like Albania or even Russia. When I arrived to Russia, it was, I think the guys there, it was the first time they saw a car from Portugal. And it happened in a few countries. Now it's completely different. You go to any European country, it's full of European tourists, and not just European, but most of all European tourists, with vans and backpacking everywhere. So it's something very normal and very easy, very safe most of the time, for sure. So you don't need to worry about that, only just go. How do I deal living alone with anxiety and depression? Well, with anxiety I do this. And with depression, well, those are very, very important subjects, but I don't think I suffer from any of those. Maybe sometimes a little bit of anxiety. But the way I live now is much more healthy for those things that it was before. Even I don't think I was suffering from it before as well. I would feel sometimes depressed because I wasn't traveling, and I would feel anxiety when I was preparing things for traveling and things weren't work very well or taking too long. And I'm not for sure a good person to talk about clinical issues, I think, but my opinion is that someone that has deep depression or deep anxiety, maybe they still have it even traveling alone. If it's not very deep, then it depends. We're not all the same, as I say all the time. It depends. For other people, I think living in alone traveling must be the best way stop suffering of depression or anxiety, but that each one of us needs to understand how we are and what's better for us, and try to reach what will be better for us. And so this is a very difficult subject for me to talk. I'm not very qualified for that. I only can talk about myself. And for me, living this way now after 1 year, I don't have any kind of depression, far from it. I'm always very happy and very calm, very relaxed. Anxiety I have sometimes, because I'm an artist. I write and I read the videos as well. Sometimes I have a little bit of anxiety, but not very much. Nothing. Not at the level I cannot handle. One thing I can say: before living this way, things were much more difficult, and I used to have sleeping problems. I still have from time to time, but now completely different from before, and very, very far from before. Now most of the nights I sleep very well. Then all these sound of the waves and all these nice views and always a different place. At the same time, it's always my bed. So all my clinical issues are very, very well now, I think. And I guess it's all for this sunset talk. Really hope you liked today's video and all the subjects we talk about. You know that next Wednesday, we'll do another one in a different place, and we'll talk about anything you want to know. Go to the comments of this video and bring the subjects you want to talk about, and feel free to ask any questions. Have a nice day and take care. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye.